I was fortunate enough recently to be able to go to Ramsey Solution headquarters in Franklin, Tennessee. And I thought that I would share my experience with you. So if you are on the fence over whether or not it's worth it to go ahead and attend a live broadcast of the Ramsey Show, I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion. So first off, Tennessee is one of my favorite vacation destinations. I've spent a lot of time in the Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area, and that's where this vacation started. Actually ended up flying into Knoxville from Alaska and spent the first 5 days or so in Pigeon Forge. And then we were traveling across the state to Western Tennessee to my girlfriend's family's place for a couple days. And the idea was that since we were going to fly home via Knoxville, that Nashville's roughly about halfway from the western side of the state that we were in to Knoxville. So we thought, well, on the way back, let's see if we can work this out and see if we can go to the Ramsey headquarters and see if we can watch basically a live filming of the show. And so I did a little bit of research on it, and here's what I found. So first off, if you want to attend a live broadcast of the show, they ask if you would fill out an online form. Basically, it's, just asking for some general information, your email, when you're planning on attending, etc. Part of the reason why they do that, they say, is to make sure that they have enough baked goodies ready for you, because they do have things for visitors, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Also, though, it's helpful to actually be able to give your email address and fill out that form, because they will actually send you a response that has the address of the show on it, and then also they let you know who the on-air personalities are going to be the day that you're planning on attending, which was really cool. So when I got my email, again, it had the directions on there, which is helpful. And it also let me know that George Camel and Dave Ramsey himself were going to be in studio doing the broadcast the day I planned to attend, which was sweet. So we ended up showing up to the Ramsey Solutions headquarters. First off, the campus, I'll call it a campus, so to speak, the headquarters were huge. It's actually very impressive. It's kind of off the beaten trail, just by a little bit, off the main drag. There's a large Etna building on your right as you're traveling down the road to get into the site where they're doing the broadcast. But it was a very impressive series of buildings in this area, and I'll show you a picture here so you get a general idea of where you end up going in. So it's with the directions that they give you, it's very easy to locate. They have free public parking that's actually right next to the building in which they film the show. So it's actually super, super convenient in that regard. So when we arrived and we walked in the building, we were initially greeted by almost like a receptionist. There's almost like a receptionist table when you walk in. It's a little bit off to the side, but we were immediately greeted by a super, super nice lady. She asked where we're from, if we're here for the show. She gave us an idea of what all there was to see in the facility. It was really cool. I was really impressed. Super, super nice lady. So immediately when you walk in, you just get a really, really good, positive vibe from the lady, I should say, that greets you on the way in. So again, I was super pumped that we happened to luck out. Of course, I wanted to see and meet Dave Ramsey in person, and so I was super pumped that it was him and George doing the show. So the next thing that you notice after you're greeted, you see some glass with a studio behind it, and you see a whole variety of seating areas. So basically picture it almost like cafeteria type seating maybe a little bit more comfortable. So they have some like almost like bar stool type areas set up with like chairs with backs on them. Um, Maybe more comparable to like some airport seating that you would see with higher chairs with backs on them, and some tabletops, and then some regular tables that you can sit at to basically watch the show. And so we got there early. I don't know, we probably got there 20 minutes to a half an hour early. The first personality that we saw was Dave. Dave was actually there. He was the earliest. He was on a laptop, basically going through stuff for the show, I would presume. And so we kind of saw him first there, prepping for the show. It was really kind of cool. I would say overall for the time that we were there were roughly, there were probably around 40 people, maybe 50. Not all at one time that attended the live broadcast. Some people were kind of in and out. Some people, a very small number of people, including us, were there from the very beginning throughout the filming of the show. And there were some that were there for like half the time, whatever the case may be, and then everything in between. And so I found out that once the show starts, Dave, and in this case George, they're the personality, they come out and they greet the people that are watching the live broadcast twice per hour. And during that time, they'll come out and there is basically what amounts to be like the debt-free stage right out on the other side of the glass, on the side of that we're sitting on. They'll come out twice per hour to pose for pictures with people. They'll come out and talk to you, ask you where you're from. So when Dave and George first came out, we didn't get a chance to meet them the first time through, just because, they're only coming out during breaks in the broadcast, so it's not a lot. It's not a ton of time. But I really appreciated the fact that they took the time to do this. Really what it amounted to be like 6 times during the broadcast, because we were there for 3 hours. So it was really cool that they were taking the time to do that. In addition to that, Dave was signing autographs. And George, I believe, was as well, where if you wanted to buy a book, there is a little bookstore there. I forgot to mention that. There is like a bookstore / cafeteria there. So if you brought a book with you, they would autograph that. If you brought in other items, they would autograph it as well. But if you didn't have anything with you, there was a bookstore there where they were selling copies of their books and things like that as well, if you wanted an autograph. So it was super, super accommodating. It was just a great experience. So flash forward to the second time they came out. The second time they came out to greet guests, we were able to meet Dave, shake his hand. We were able to meet George Camel also. Could not have been nicer. Super, super nice. Asking us where we're from. Taking pictures with us as well. And I can show you a picture of myself with Dave. It was just a really, really cool experience. Very well designed, just a very efficient process. So I thought it was really cool. I did want to note also, so in addition to being able to meet the personalities and get a picture and an autograph if you wanted one, which were free, by the way. So there was no cost for parking. There was no cost for entry to watch the show. There was no cost to take pictures with the personalities. There was no cost for the autographs. Everything was free. In addition to that, they will give you one free drink. They had coffee. They had Americanos. They had like 20-ounce bottles of pop and tea and lemonade, those types of things. They'll give you one free drink. They also would give you one free homemade cookie. They had things like snickerdoodle, like good stuff like snickerdoodles and things like that also. So you could take your pick there. And then also, they even gave you a mug. It was one per household on a mug. And here's a picture of it, just so you can take a peek at that. I thought it was just so cool. My total cost for the trip was $0. It was super, super cool. It was definitely worth it if you're considering going to Ramsey Solutions to be able to see a live broadcast of the show. In my experience, it was awesome. It was really cool. One other thing that I forgot to mention during the filming of the show, there is a lady who's kind of like behind the scenes, who sits off to the side by the audience, and she kind of lets you know what's going on, which was also helpful. Like she'll come out and be like, "Hey, she could explain to us like, hey, they'll be coming out twice per hour, and she'd let you know which breaks they're going to come out on. Toward the end of the broadcast, they did a debt-free scream. She went through the whole process with us. It was awesome. She went up in front of us and she's like, well, hey guys, in this next segment, please make sure your phones are on silent and all that sort of thing, because we're going to be filming on the debt-free stage, which again is right by where we're sitting. And she's like, basically, just make sure you hold your applause until they're done. And so we actually got to see a debt-free scream like right next to us. It was really cool. It was a husband and a wife, and I think they had a couple of kids. Excuse me. And they paid off, I want to say, well over $200,000. So it was kind of cool to be able to kind of celebrate with them and kind of cheer them on after they were able to share their experience. And so 10 out of 10 experience for me. A matter of fact, I think I might have mentioned on a previous video that, I had been on basically on steps 6 and 7. If you're familiar with the baby steps, I'd been on 6 and 7, and briefly went back into 2. I ended up actually taking out a loan for a side-by-side. Going to that show just kind of reinvigorated, and going for me at least, and going back and being aggressive toward that debt, getting that paid off, and jumping back into steps 6 and 7, because you know what, 6 and 7 are really a great place to be when you have that freedom of not having debts, and you have just extra expendable income, disposable income, whatever you want to call it. It's just a great place to be because there's just so many things that you can do when you're in that situation. One request, hey, if you haven't already, if you'd consider subscribing to the channel, that would be awesome. Hope everybody's summer is off to a great start, and we'll see you in the next one.